David Nolan is forming a libertarian political party. Its membership has indicated an interest in nominating you for its presidential candidate in 1972. What is your response to this overture?
That picture below, that answer. My favorite question.
Right. I told them when they asked me, they found me out for a bit. I told them I'd rather be the Eminence Grise than the president. You know, the White House aide of the presidency. I think, I guess the humor is, I really don't think so. I mean, as wonderful as third parties are, libertarian, the idea of libertarian parties, of course, sounds great, but I really don't think that, at this stage of our development, that it's anything but foolhardy, to have a libertarian party. There's just not that many libertarians yet. I mean, there's no finances, there's no people, there's no nothing. So I really don't, maybe eventually we'll have a libertarian party.
What would be the purpose of a libertarian party? What would be the goal?
Well, I think if there were a libertarian party, I mean, I said I'm difficult to talk about this. I don't want to make it seem as if I think this is a realistic example. But if there ever were a true libertarian party, there could be several things. Tactically, we could have a balance of power. Let's say, you could have maybe electoral college or something like that. Even better, I mean, as an educational weapon would be very good, I think, because if you had 10 guys in Congress, let's say, each of whom were constantly agitating for libertarian purposes, voting against the budget, let's say, I think it'd be very useful. And also, we have a long-range problem, which is really a problem which strategically none of us have really ever grappled with to any extent. And that is, how do we finally establish the libertarian system or anarcho-capitalist? Now obviously ideas are the key thing. First you have to start off, you have to persuade a lot of people to be anarchists or anarcho-capitalists. But then what? In other words, what's the next step? We certainly don't have to convince the majority of the public, perhaps, because most of the public will sort of follow anything that happens. We obviously have to have a large minority. But then, in other words, how do we then implement this? And I think this is sort of the power problem, because, as I've expressed in other places, the government's not going to resign. In other words, you're not going to have a situation where Dick Nixon reads Human Action or Shrug or many kind of things says, my God, they're right. It's not going to have the greatest. I'm not denying the philosophical possibility this might happen, but obviously strategically it's very low probability scale. Because the Marxists put it, no ruling class has ever voluntarily surrendered its power. So in other words, we have to deal with the problem of how to get these guys off our back. And I think a party, it seems to me, one of the few ways of doing it in the long run, in the sense that if you really have a dedicated group in Congress or the Senate or whatever, you can start voting measures down or, whatever. But I don't think this is the only way. I think maybe eventually there'll be civil disobedience where the public will start not paying taxes and things like that. But, in other words, if you look at it, dismantling the state, there are several possible alternatives. There's violent revolution, there's non-violent civil disobedience, and there's a political action method, there's a political party. I don't know which of these will be successful. It's really a tactical question. You can't really predict in advance. But it seems to me it's foolhardy to give up any particular arm of this. In other words, to abandon political action, political parties, because you're saying, well, of course, once you get in the political arena, you're always compromising. Well, it's very true, but on the other hand, what else are you going to do? I think this is a real problem. In other words, I think it's incumbent on people to come up with some kind of strategic perspective to dismantle the state. See, for example, Bob Lefebvre somehow works it out that it's almost impossible to get rid of the state from his own point of view. In other words, he's against violent revolution. Okay, that's a very respectable position. He's also against voting. He's also against political parties. And it becomes very difficult to really see how possibly you can get at the state at all. So this kind of speech.
It would have to deteriorate itself.
You have to wither away in some way because it's inefficient. A lot of people were that perspective think, well, it's going to be inefficient and sort of die out. I don't think that's going to happen that way. So I don't see why we should give up something like a political party. In other words, there might be a route eventually to dismantling the state or helping to dismantle it, or a combination of 1-2 parts. If you have civil disobedience on one hand and a party and a government blocking measures with suppressed civil disobedience, something like that, it seems to me. And obviously it's very hazy as a distant future, if ever, but I don't see why we should, in other words, a priori give up a political party, or political action.
Roosevelt in the White House, he's doing his best. He lay in the graveyard, he's taking his rest.